guys. I just love the energy of that countdown. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Cuppa with Michelle. It's Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. once again, and I am your host, Michelle Jones. I am a health, wellness, and longevity coach who empowers women to create a successful online business they can work on wherever they are so they can live a life of health, wealth, and freedom. Too many people are suffering in their health, unable to balance family and work, and struggling to create financial freedom. They have been dreaming of all these cars and lifestyle of travel, and yet very few are actually living that. So I am here to help those of you who are ready to take action to integrate your passions, your talents, your hobbies, to be able to create an automated business that can bring you passive income and your dreams all with ease and flow. So we want a balance of health, wealth, freedom. Okay, that's the most important part. So last week on Cuppa with Michelle, we discussed the challenges and blessings of relocating. My friend Tamara Raymond joined us last week, and she shared with us her challenges moving from Sri Lanka to Australia. Today, I wanted to share with you my own experience because as we were discussing, there were so many things that popped to mind of the challenges that I have gone through every time we moved. So if you remember, last week, if you were here last week, I discussed and I shared, what my life was. And I shared how in the past 22 years that I've been married to my husband, we have moved homes every 3 years or so. In fact, we have moved homes we have moved into 8 different cities in the last 22 years, different countries as well. So 8 different cities and countries. And this does not even include the homes we've moved into in those cities. So every time we've moved in, we go into a temporary accommodation first, and then we move into our home. So there's been a lot of movement in the last 22 years that we've been together. So I thought today, let's talk about my adventures, my challenges of being a trailing spouse, because what I'm hoping is that other trailing spouses out there who are struggling in their moves, who are struggling in relocating to a new country, a new city, to actually get some information of how they can make it easier, understanding what the challenges are and understanding what the possible solutions are for the challenges makes going through that whole process so much easier. So remember, when you're wanting to live your life the best way that you can, and to be able to avoid all the challenges and the potholes and the bumps along the way, it's great to listen to someone who's been there. And I've been there, done that. So I'd like to share that with you. And I'd also like to be able to share this, to be able to share my experiences to others who are looking at possibly joining their husbands, spouses, or partners in this next move to another country, to another city. And hopefully they'll be able to see the pros and cons, because it's never just all excitement, all adventure, all good stuff. There's always the challenges, there's always what you need to overcome in anything that's new in your life. So that's what I'm hoping to do, to be able to show you both sides and to be able to help you in your decision making, as well as if you're there living as a trailing spouse right now. I want you guys to be able to find some of the answers to the problems that you're going through here in this Cuppa with Michelle. So before we go any further, grab your cup of coffee or your cup of tea, and or you can have water, you can have a green smoothie, and that's fine too. And just relax and let's just have a chat. Let me share with you what I know, and I'd love to hear from those of you. In fact, let me click the comment section here. I would love to hear from you guys who have lived as trailing spouses, who are currently living that lifestyle, to share with me what you're going through, what you're finding difficult, and perhaps we can discuss what I've done on my end, or what I've found useful and what I've also found not useful in that adventure. So grab your cup. By the way, if I haven't mentioned, we are live on three different platforms. So doesn't matter where you're watching me from. I will get your messages if you post it. So please do post. I may not get your names if you haven't registered through StreamYard, because I think when we go live, there's actually a note there saying, oh, register through StreamYard. So your name pops up. But that's okay. I'll still be able to see your messages and your comments. Okay. All right. So last week when we were talking to Tamara, there were some misconceptions that we started talking about that people posted online, or that people have Googled online about moving and relocating. And I'd like to talk to you about some of them, but I also want to add whatever pops up on our chat or on my mind as we go through, because I feel like when you have, or when you get the wrong information, either from your friends or online, it actually impacts the way you make your decision on, your next move, your next posting, or in life in general. So a great example that I have was when I was learning how to do iridology, because I'm an iridologist. And when I was learning how to do that, there was so many information online about why iridology was bad, why it was a quack, why it doesn't work. Very few people actually talked about the amazing things that you discover through the iris, the amazing things that iridology can help with, how it can help your health, and so on and so forth. So I'd like this forum to be that. I'd like this forum to be your way of actually seeing both sides of what's written out there, of the misconceptions, as well as some of the questions that we have received from the live that we did last week. Also, I did a similar topic 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And there were a lot of questions back then that we didn't actually get to address, because that was in a different forum. I was interviewed by somebody else. And I'd like to be able to address that here. Okay. So let's get started. Considering that I've been talking, it's funny to say, let's get started. It's almost like I haven't started yet. Okay. The first misconception that people say about moving and relocating, and why this lifestyle is so glamorous and so exciting, is because they say when you move, you solve all your problems. Well, Tamara and I addressed that, and we both said, no, it doesn't really solve your problems. But then again, depends on what your problem is. If your problem is that, the place that you're at is so boring and there's nothing new anymore, and you want a more energetic lifestyle, then perhaps a move will solve that problem. So this would probably be someone who lives in the rural areas where there's not a lot of action happening, and you want to move to a more populated place where there's more stuff happening at night, or there's more adventure that you can expect. Yes, fine, that will solve your problem. But with some people, the problems that they have will be financial. With some people, the problem they have is the way people see them. With some people, it's you know connecting with friends, that they don't have friends, they want to have a bigger network. Now, sometimes a move doesn't solve that problem. You might have to look inward and see, is there something that I'm not doing correctly to be able to solve this problem? So for example, let's talk about connections, making friends. Even if you live in Whoop Whoop, you will still have a population there that you can connect to. I've actually always thought that if you had less people to connect with, it would be easier to connect, because there's just a few of you. Everyone would be craving attention, everyone would be craving connections. So you just have to actually teach yourself how to reach out to those people, right? And no matter where you are, no matter where you move, if you do not teach yourself how to create connections, how to um, talk to someone, how to approach people, then you will never solve that problem, no matter where you move. I remember meeting up with a good friend of mine, and we traveled and went to uh, uh, Boracay in the Philippines. And her problem was that she couldn't connect with men, so she wanted to have a relationship, but she didn't. She felt like her environment prevented her from connecting with men, with potential partners. And I said, cool, well then let's party. Baraka is a place to party, let's party. And we attended some parties, and I realized that she wasn't connecting because she wasn't approaching people. She wasn't even starting a conversation. So in that situation, even if we were in a place where everyone was there to meet new people, she wasn't meeting anyone because she didn't know how to approach someone or start a conversation or join in a conversation or do small talk. So when you have a problem, before you think that relocating is a solution, see what it is that you can change in yourself that will actually help solve the problem where you are. Because making friends, connecting with people works the same way no matter where you are. So my kids have gotten used to us moving every 3 years or so. And I would always say that my kids would make friends with anyone, anywhere, because that was the situation that we had. That was what they had to survive. My eldest daughter found it difficult in the beginning and then realized the beauty of traveling. But my two younger kids never really had a different world. They always moved from the time they were born to, by the time they got to uni, they were always with us and always moving. And so you get, they were always the only Western children in, for example, a Korean school. So my son was the only white boy in the Korean school, and my daughter was one of two white children in an Indonesian school. So it was so amazing that despite the language barrier, they made friends. So this was in their kindergartens, I have to say. When they did get to primary school, we've moved them into international schools. But oh, hi, Ibu Meti, how are you? Let me pull up your comment here. So Meti is a beautiful friend that I've met in Indonesia. 300% agreed, even though I am now relocated to different places, but in short periods of time, yes, start to reach out. Miss you. I miss you. Ibu Meti and I used to party a lot when we were in Indonesia. We'd go out, we'd have, our luncheons, our coffee meetups, our champagne meetups. But yeah, that's right. We had to connect, we had to reach out. So if connecting is your problem, relocating is not going to fix it. Okay. So what was the other thing that I said? If you are having issues with your image, how people see you, relocating is also not the solution for that. Because you know what? If you are always concerned about how people see you, no matter where you go, there will be people who will not see you the way you want them to see you. That's why you have to be confident in your own skin. Because if you're happy with how you are with people, with how you are with yourself, with how you are spiritually, doesn't matter what anyone else says. You will be confident and happy with yourself. So I know that I've had some friends I have some friends who have had to relocate to try and change that image that's been created of them in certain areas. But my comment there is, it may be simpler to start anew in a new place, but until you solve that image in that other place that you've been in, you will always have that at the back of your head. At the back of your head, you will always have that fear of going back to that place because no one sees you the way you truly are, or everyone sees you only for the mistake that you've created, right? So if you want to start anew, fine. I guess it's easier to move to a new place where it's all, you start off on a clean slate. and then you can create great things, but you will always have to go back to where you were, have people see that clean slate, and have people change their mindset on you. But then again, you will not convince everyone of that. The same way, those people in that place that you left can also, we've got social media now, can also change the mindset of the people in this new place about you. So you have to be confident in yourself about where you're at in your life, how you've changed, how much better you are, and how you're a totally different person from what you were before. We all started from somewhere. We all made mistakes. I always say that the generation these days have got it really hard because every mistake is on social media. Every mistake is shared on social media, and it's very hard to escape that. So, your only escape, your only way to get beyond that, to overcome that, is to actually change yourself. Be happy with yourself. Know what you've done, know what you've achieved. Be confident in yourself. And, be happy about what you've made yourself. You know, be kind to yourself as well because we all make mistakes. And the people that don't see that, the people that give you a hard time, and the people that will say, oh no, you'll never change, you'll always be the same, forgive them and forget them. Because if you live your life worrying about what they're commenting and what they're saying about you, you will never be able to live your life. You will never be able to go forward. You will always be held back by that comment. Okay? And your life is your life, it's not their life. If they have a problem with you, then let them have a problem with you. You don't have a problem with them, and you don't have a problem with yourself. So keep moving forward. Okay? So that was the second one. From all the chatting, I totally forgot the third example that I gave about what you're trying to escape from. Oh, finances was the other one. Okay. So I remember when I was growing up in the Philippines, a lot of people have kept wanting to move out because there was not a lot of options in the Philippines. And, working as a nurse overseas gave them better options. In this day and age, that's not quite the same way anymore. I don't feel like that's the same. In the past, the way to make income was where you were, where you lived. If you had a business, you sold to the people around you. In this day and age of technology, of online businesses, that isn't even a problem anymore. Even if you lived in Papua New Guinea, even if you lived in Fiji, so in very small communities where there's not a lot of business potential, you can build a global business. You can change your finances. You can better yourself. And you can do this by creating an online business, by jumping into a high ticket affiliate marketing business. That, in fact, is what Forbes has said is the way of 2023. 2023 is about going into online or the digital space and creating and building affiliate businesses. So, relocating nowadays because of finances isn't really the solution. Besides, if you're already struggling where you are, why would you use the funds to actually move to a different place? When you talk to mentors, when you talk to millionaires about what you should do with your funds, it's never let's move to this new place, invest into an airfare, a new home, and all that, so that we can build a business in this new place or earn more money in this new place. It's never that. It is always about you spending on something that will give you a return on investment. An airfare doesn't have a return on investment if you're going to go there and explore your chances and your opportunities. You don't even know where to start, right? You're better off using those funds, going online, checking what's available out there, checking what you can actually legitimately do to change your finances, to change your future, right? And again, there's a lot of that. Um, If you have been following me, check out my posts because that's exactly what I help people with. I help them learn how to create a digital business, an online business, something that they can work from home, and with a high ticket product so that your income is also a good income. If you're doing online and you're working so much and it's with a small ticket product, then you have to do so much work to actually get the income that you need, right? So now it's all about working smart. Okay, so that's going to be a different topic, but bear that in mind. Moving is never about fixing your finances. It will never do that for you. Okay. All right. So that was the first misconception. Second one is you will automatically make new friends and have a thriving social life if you move. And I think this comment is from the fact that they say, well, when you move, you're the novelty, you're the new person there. Well, that's true. But if you don't know how to connect with people, then you're not going to be thriving. You're not going to be able to make friends. You're not going to be able to be the new exciting person. You'll actually be the boring person that we don't know about, right? So that isn't the way to go if you want a thriving, exciting life where you'll create good friends straight away. If you're going to be doing this move because you're supporting your spouse, you will want to have a community that you can hold on to and grow with in that new place. And that was where Meti and I met each other. You know, we were a group of women supporting our spouses, and we had to have our avenue to vent and to just laugh out loud, share our funny experiences with each other. So make friends, know how to connect, find people that are just like you. So every time we move, my husband does this amazing thing for me. He always looks for the Filipino community wherever we go, or Filipino ladies that are wherever we go, so that I might be able to connect with them. And Meti is with my group, not of Filipino ladies, but of Asian ladies. And I love that. So we were Asian women from different countries that were there, wanting to just have a good life, a good time, and supporting our spouses. And it was great. It was amazing. So find friends who are like you, who you can connect with, and who you can, share your experiences with. And that's the only way you can actually make friends. Okay. All right. Three, finding a new job in a new place will be easy and straightforward. I don't know who actually put that through and why people think that. When you move to a new place, it is actually more difficult to find a job. Okay, why? When I moved to Australia from the Philippines, I realized that although people were paid better here in Australia than we were in the Philippines, that my salary, the salary that I was making back in the Philippines, was a salary that a receptionist or you know let's just use receptionist because I can't think of the other job that I saw before, but a receptionist would be paid the same amount of money. And I was working as a salesperson in a big multinational company in the Philippines. So back home, that was good income. And when I got here, that income was, what someone who only was answering phones, giving people what they needed within that office made, right? So that was exciting for me. But what I realized earlier on was that to be able to get a job in a different country, you need to find out what the requirements are for that job. And the fact was, I graduated from a school overseas, and the credentials weren't necessarily accepted here in Australia. So I applied and I couldn't get a job. And the fact that I already at that point had owned my own business, I've already worked for a multinational company, I've already done customer service, and I've done marketing, advertising, and so on and so forth. The job that I was applying for here I was overqualified and they couldn't even accept me for those jobs because I was too qualified for them. So it was so difficult. It wasn't until I was able to use a referral letter from an Australian citizen, because I actually had a stint in the Australian embassy before moving here, that I actually landed my first job here. So getting a job in a new country is not easier. It is always easier to get a job where you're at, where they accept your credentials, where they understand your educational qualifications better. Now, if you're moving, for example, because you feel like, for example, in the Philippines or in Indonesia, there's too many graduates from high caliber schools applying for the same positions and you don't have a way in. Yes, it might be easier in Australia, in Canada, in New Zealand, but you still have to convert that qualification into something that's acceptable and understandable in those countries. Okay. And remember, like Tamara shared, even the way she prepared her resume had to be recreated so that she could apply for a job here in Australia. Okay. So it's not as simple. It will always be a bit of work and sometimes a lot of work, but you will always be able to do it if you're determined. So I think that's a key. You need to be determined to make it happen. You need to be determined to get the results. You need to be determined to get that job. But determination here in another country is the same. If you go to a new country thinking, oh, it's going to be easier here because they've got more jobs available for people here, no, not necessarily. It's not going to be easier. You have to do your research. You have to work really hard to get their attention, and you have to understand the rules and the lingo in that new place. Okay. All right. Next. Um, Number 4, you will immediately feel at home and comfortable in your new environment. Nope. Okay. So, my first move was from the Philippines to Australia and feel at home straight away. No way. How could you feel at home straight away? Your family, your group of friends are in a different place, right? So, if you're moving to a totally new place, it's very hard to feel at home and at ease until you've actually created your new group of friends, your new support group. A support group is crucial wherever you go. Okay? The feel at home thing is one of the biggest jobs of a trailing spouse. And that is why we are important for our partners and our spouses. Every time we move, we have to create a semblance of home wherever we go. So we always travel with a little bit of our furniture so that when we walk into our house, there is a semblance of home. It's not going to be exactly the same, but we'll have, for example, some of our masks that we first purchased together in Indonesia. We have our family photos. We have some of the vase that I got from my mom, that we got when Adam and I married. We have, so you get some of the things from home with you when you travel, so that when you create your home, it can kind of feel a little bit like home, right? And that plus understanding where everything is at, knowing and having the confidence that, yep, if I need these things that I usually need for my food, that I need in a day-to-day basis, I know where I'm going to get that. It's until you know all those, where to get your groceries, where to get your food, where to get your comfort food, what gym to go to, where to connect with your friends, where the best coffee place is. Until you know all that, you don't really feel like you're at home. Because remember, home, when you're feeling at home, you know that at any time of the day you want to go out and meet up with a friend, you know where to meet up with them. You know that they'll be there. You know that if you went to the grocery, you'll be able to get your comfort food. Or when you went to the nearest or your favorite restaurant, the food that you love will be there. So these are the things that you will have to try and discover when you go to a new place. So, biggest thing to take from that, make sure you have with you some things that will make your new home feel like home. Don't ever go to a new place with nothing, because if you go into a house that doesn't have anything, any part that will remind you of home, it's very hard to feel at home. It's literally starting from scratch. You're already starting from scratch in your new place. It's even harder if you can't at least sit down in your lounge room and see something from home, right? So our lounge room always has something from home. Our bedrooms probably doesn't have all our stuff. I do have to admit I travel with our paintings. So the paintings that we have here are paintings that we have over there. I have to admit we've been a bit slack in unpacking. So not all the paintings are out on the wall, but we do try and bring out stuff that actually makes the house feel like home straight away. Okay? Guys, if you've got any questions, do share your questions. Okay? Don't be ashamed to ask anything. There's no silly question. Okay. Starting afresh means leaving all your problems and baggage behind. Hmm. I guess that is true and false at the same time. I mean, what baggage are we talking about? If we're talking about an ex-boyfriend, a friend that you've had a falling out with, um, challenges with an ex-employer. I guess yes, you can leave all those behind, starting afresh. But remember, moving isn't really about that, more so as creating a new adventure. I think I would rather that be the reason for a move. When you're trying to leave things behind, these things that we leave behind have a tendency of following us, because until we actually forgive and forget, forgive and leave, or have a certain amount of acceptance with whatever it is that you've had issues with in the one place that you're going before you go off to the next. Until you've done that, there's actually no leaving. It will always be at the back of your head. You will always be bothered by it. You'll always be stressed by it. You'll always have your fears, right? So there's no leaving and starting anew. There's only forgiving, blessing, and then starting anew. Okay? Um, no matter how difficult your problem is, it will always have a tendency of coming back and haunting you if you don't address it. Okay? All right. So those were the five. I love those five, right? Now, let's talk about some of the pluses. I've talked about this misconception. Let's talk about the pluses. What is amazing about moving to a new place? I love actually discovering a new culture. Every country that we've been to have given us amazing things to learn and amazing things to discover about the place. So when I moved, for example, from the Philippines here to Australia, I loved how, oh my gosh, there's so much space here compared to the Philippines. I loved how people actually all had a sport to do because there was so much space to do sports. I loved how, spare time or weekends were spent, playing cricket, going out on the fields, kicking a ball, or bringing your golf clubs to like an open field and just playing putt putt on your own. Um, in the Philippines, spare time was shopping. Like we wouldn't go to playgrounds because of the pollution, so we wouldn't spend time outdoors a lot. Spare time was shopping, watching a movie. It was always indoors. Here in Australia, it was all outdoors, and I loved that. I loved that experience. When we moved to Indonesia, I loved how the Indonesians were so polite to each other. You know, people were so afraid back then of Indonesians and the Muslims because that was right after the Bali bombing that we first were posted to Indonesia. And I remember ringing my mom and saying, my gosh, these people are so amazingly polite. They are such nice people. You know, there is a small group that's crazy, but in general, they're such amazing people. And I love that. I loved learning the language. I loved how the Indonesians enjoyed or loved me learning their language, and the atmosphere was just really good. They were very. I mean, Filipinos are very hospitable. Indonesians are also very hospitable. So I love that similarity. And then when we moved to Korea, I found it so amazing that people rushed all the time, that people wanted to finish things fast, that people loved to explore and do things the best way that they could. Technology was so far ahead. Inventions were so far ahead. It was amazing. I thought Australia had amazing technology, and when we got there, the internet was the fastest I've ever seen it. um, you know, I had cameras in my house that showed me where the playground was, how what my children were doing downstairs, what, you know. So everything was high tech, everything was amazing. This was in 2003 when we were in Korea. Oh, sorry, no, 2006 when we were in Korea. And they already had like the touch pad for their doors. You know, we didn't even need keys anymore. We had like the magnetic keys. We didn't even use like doorknob keys. We had that. We had the touch pads. And I thought, whoa, how high tech, how amazing. And I love that about them. I loved how Koreans, although they learned English in school, were embarrassed to speak the language. And but if you kind of, you know, nudge them, they'd try. And I just enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed learning their culture. I enjoyed understanding them even more. And I enjoyed how they really wanted to get ahead in the world, you know, by trying to absorb everything. They all have a sport that they're good at. They all have a musical instrument that they're good at, you know. So they always wanted to excel. And then when we got to Sri Lanka, I love the timing of Sri Lanka because after fast-paced Korea, where everything was pali-pali, everything was fast, we learned how in Sri Lanka everything was relaxed. You know, you had to actually embrace relaxation and just being at peace with yourself because everything was slow. And I remember that moving from Korea to Sri Lanka, I struggled in the beginning because I got so used to everything being so fast in Korea. And then you go to Sri Lanka and like people go, no, no, just enjoy, just relax. Even when you go to the checkout counter, in the beginning, I really wanted to grab the bag from the clerk because she took her time scanning my stuff, putting them in the bag, and I thought, oh my god, I'm gonna be here forever. But that culture just taught me how to stop, breathe, and be me. You know, listen to my mind, listen to what was around me, listen to my thoughts. Because when you're in a very fast paced environment, you have no time to stop and listen. You just keep going. And Sri Lanka was so timely because it literally just, you know, gave me time to stop. Oh, Meti, that's a good question. Let me share that here. How if all our positive excitement about a new place doesn't go as we expected and we struggled? Have you ever experienced that? I haven't, but uh, I have had friends and I have had colleagues that have struggled. And you know what that is? It is about you having that expectation about the place. So it's always better. It's good to be prepared, right? So you do your research about the place. It's good to be prepared, but it's also good to be open. So my one good example is, as I said, Sri Lanka. If I did not allow that environment to teach me how to stop, how to listen, how to relax, I would hate Sri Lanka because nothing happened fast. Everything was so slow. But what you have to remember is when you go to a new place, that new place is not going to adjust to you. You're going to adjust to that new place. You're going to have to see how that new place teaches you its wisdom. Every place, every city has its beauty, and they all have their challenging bits, but they all have something to teach us. So if we go into a new place thirsty and hungry to learn about it, then we will enjoy it, no matter the dramas of the place. Remember, Meti, I went to Papua New Guinea as well. Before we left for Papua New Guinea, my daughter Googled what was in Papua New Guinea and she said, "Oh my God, Dad, seriously, we're going to go there." And they still have headhunters. They have people that actually, you know, hunt and when the tribes fight, they actually cut off the heads, right? So what would that be? But we didn't go into we didn't go into Papua New Guinea being with that solely in our heads. We actually spoke to a lot of other people who have said, "Oh, we enjoyed Papua New Guinea. We enjoyed how we've got that amazing housing facility in the city. We enjoyed the connections that we've made there." So we came with both mindsets. But when we got there, we allowed Papua New Guinea to teach us its wisdom, right? So thanks again for that question, Meti. Thank you so much. But like Papua New Guinea is a beautiful, beautiful country. And I remember driving down the Paraparina and their highway. And then when you go down, going towards where we lived, you'd see the ocean. And I actually would tell Adam every time we'd pass by, I'd go, there is no view that would actually be more beautiful than this. This view of going home, going up the highway and then down and seeing the ocean. It's just magnificent. And then you've got the mountains beside you. It's just beautiful. It's just raw beauty. And that's what I loved about Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea also taught me that you can't judge a place, you can't judge the people by how they look. Papua New Guineans are much bigger people. They are much bigger, they're much stronger people, and they can be intimidating. I'm so tiny. I am, when I got there, it was so easy to just be intimidated. But the beauty of you having an open mind, the beauty of you wanting to meet and connect with people is actually what's going to give you your positive experiences in the new place. So I made friends with locals in Papua New Guinea and I loved them. I loved them so much. Again, they taught me relaxation. They taught me sisterhood. Sisterhood is a big thing in Papua New Guinea. And I love my sisters over there. They're just beautiful women. And, you know, amidst a place where so many people struggled, I had the positive relationships that actually kept me um, happy in that place. So there's always something to learn in every place. There will always be challenges, but remember that whether it's challenge in a new place, challenge in connecting, challenge in business, or challenge in your day-to-day life with your children, with your husband, challenges are there for you to overcome. Challenges are problems that you need to solve. And once you've solved that problem, then it's not a challenge anymore, right? So if you're struggling in a new place, find out what that problem is that you're struggling with and why you're struggling with that problem, and see how you can fix it. And don't look outside. The moment you say, oh no, this is my husband's problem, or oh no, this is the country's problem, you will never enjoy that posting. You'll never enjoy that relocation. You will only enjoy it once you've realized, hold on, I have it in me to solve this problem. I have it in me to solve this challenge. How am I going to solve it? Let me share something with you. I remember when we were considering Papua New Guinea as a posting, my husband's sales pitch rather to me was, if you hate the posting, or if you come to a point where you're overwhelmed and you want to get out, Cairns is only, I think he said, an hour away. Am I get remembering it right? An hour or an hour and a half away. And he said, and you can go there anytime you want. And I thought, yes, I'm in. So for every problem, there is a solution. So if I was overwhelmed, I'd fly and go somewhere else. I'd breathe, relax, think in my head, okay, how do I solve that problem that's overwhelming me? And then I can come back again and enjoy myself again, right? So in every place, there will be a challenge. Even in your hometown, there is a challenge. Even where you've grown up, there's a challenge. Even where you've now, built your home, there is a challenge. And it is up to you to overcome those challenges to actually build your life, because it is your life. No matter where you go, even if you're a trailing spouse, you can't say, well, this is my husband's life, it's not my life. No, you signed, you're on board with your husband's movement. You signed into that job. Is it the right phrase? You've signed up for it. So live it, live it to the fullest. Maybe some of the decisions that have been made, weren't made fully with your consent. In some cases, that might have happened. But if you are going to continue living that, then you're okay with you living that, then do it, right? Do it and live it to the fullest. Now, if you totally didn't want this and you've just been dragged into it, then you have to sit down and have a talk with your husband and be clear, because you will never be happy if you don't solve your challenges and your problems. And if it's a relationship problem, then you have to fix that problem. Okay. I hope you guys found this useful. You've learned from it. I am going to do another trading spouse Cuppa with Michelle. I have spoken to a few of my colleagues who have traveled and supported their husbands to join me in the next one. And I will be posting that date, because I truly believe that there's so many of us that go around trying to reinvent ourselves everywhere we go. And I was one of them. And I want you guys to know that you're not alone. We've done it. We've had amazing lives traveling. It hasn't always been a lot of fun. There have been a lot of challenges. But again, understanding how to get over those challenges is the biggest thing. And with trailing spouses, one of our biggest problems is actually, because we're there supporting our husband, because we're there supporting our children, because we're trying to create a semblance of home, sometimes working, getting a job, running a business can be difficult. And again, this is what I'd like to help you guys with. Creating an online business that you can work on no matter where in the world you go, no matter where you live, is really important, because earning your own income is empowering. I don't believe in women only, or spouses, trailing spouses only depending on their spouse's income. You need to have your own income as well. You need to be your own person as well. You need to be able to feed your quench for knowledge, your quench for connections, your need to be able to change other people's lives, your need to be important enough to be heard and you need to be able to make a difference. So remember, this is your life too. Even if you're following your husband around, this is your life too. So create a life amidst that. Sure, you'll have to take about what, 6 months in the beginning off to just create a semblance of home. And I've found that is really the time frame that we need, the time frame for the kids to be at ease in the place, for your husband to be well set up, or my husband to be well set up in his work. My time to also be able to just go, okay, yep, this is where I fit in this new environment, in this lifestyle. These are my friends. It takes 6 months to get all that done. And when that's all done, it's now your time. You need to be able to create your presence, create your brand, create your passion, and be able to share that with others and make money from it. Okay. Be empowered by making your own income as well. Sure, it's income that's going to be shared with the family, of course. Yes. But it's income that you've made, it's income that you've earned. Okay. So, guys, I am going to go. I don't want these things to go very long. I hope that's helped. We will continue this discussion next time. And until then, hope you've enjoyed your cup of coffee, cup of tea, cup of water, your green smoothie, whatever it is, and enjoyed this conversation as well, because I have enjoyed sharing it with you. Have a great day, everyone. Oh, thank you, Ibu Meti. Terima kasih banyak. You are such a positive energy. Meti, you and I are. So you better be in this next one that I'm planning. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day, Meti. And to all of you other spouses out there who've been watching, I've been seeing your thing here that's saying number of people that's watched this. I hope you've learned something from this, and do connect. Let me know what's connected with you, what you found useful, and I'd love to hear what your challenges were, how you've solved those challenges, and only trailing spouses can help each other, right? Have a great day, everyone. Bye.